So, probably a more accurate title of this talk is what I learned about content from The Sims, why it's driven me to procedural methods, and what I now plan to do with them. Okay, so the first thing I did was recruited an elite team of developers skilled in the old ways. No, a slight tangent here, sorry. My daughter was 5, many years ago, and I decided I was going to get a really nice telescope and a really nice microscope, and I could find a telescope everywhere, all these different science shops, nature company, places like that. And I went to go look for a really good microscope, and I couldn't find one anywhere. And it really surprised me because, I'd used a really nice, stereoscope in school, and I really loved what you could do with these things. And this is just kind of, Will's personal information you might find valuable. Really, if I had to pick one of the two, I'd pick the microscope. Especially if you're a kid, these things are so cool to play with. And I'll tell you what you get, because now we have eBay. And on eBay, you can get these things very easily, whereas before, it was like a real treasure hunt to find one. You basically definitely want one with stereo and lighting, overhead lighting. And they come in two types. They come in low power and high power. And you want the low power. As counterintuitive as that sounds. You'll put your hand into this thing, and you'll spend an hour just obsessing over your hand, and it's like a religious experience. But anyway, back to our story. So we recruited this elite team of developers. Then I put them in a state-of-the-art hidden development facility and started working on this thing a little while back. Now, what I'm going to show you today actually is a little bit of the results of what we've been working on. Normally, I don't really do demos, but actually, I really wanted to demo this first to this community just because I feel so much affinity for this community rather than like an E3 marketing type thing. So what I'm going to show you, first of all, is very unfinished. It's kind of held together with, baling wire and duct tape. Got a long way to go. But I think, I can show you enough of it to where you'll get some sense of why I'm excited by procedural methods. And I think it is relevant to kind of, what people have been seeing at the conference here today. We're calling it Spore. And that's where we're going to move over to this screen here. Okay. We start here, and we're in the land of the very small. I'm actually controlling this little guy around here. This is basically cellular scale. We have some fluid dynamics. This basically is a very analog fluid version of Pac-Man. So basically, I'm trying to eat these little dots. These little bad things chase me. Certain ones, like these guys, can kill me too. Ah, that's bad. I have certain abilities in this world, but this world is pretty much entirely procedurally generated. Now, the abilities I get from this guy, after I eat enough little of these food pellets, I get to lay an egg. So that little yellow thing is my egg here. I now actually get to go to the next generation of the guy. I can click on the egg and go into an editor. If we could bring the lights down just a little bit, if that's possible. So here's a little editor. I have very simple parts that I can kind of build for this guy. I have mouthpieces that influence what I can eat. I can either eat filter food, or I have a proboscis I can poke into things. I have different movement methods, flagella, cilia, little jet, and weapons, like beam assists, spikes, whatever. So I'm going to take a little spike here, put it on the front of the guy, and then go back into the game. And I've actually modified this guy's abilities now. So whereas those brown things used to kill him, now he can go in and attack them. Now, I still can't go after the brown guys, but now I have a new food source. Now, I can change my movement and get faster. I can get stronger. So basically, the character that I'm controlling here is something that I've designed in the editor. Now, over time, as I'm playing this game, the camera kind of pulls out. The depth of field, kind of reses down. This guy grows as it gets more complex. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit in his life cycle. What you're actually doing is you're playing through several generations here. And at every generation, you get the ability to go in and kind of modify it. So this is a bit later in the game. We've actually gone now from a 2D to a 3D environment. And now, rather than living in a little drop of water, we're living kind of under the ocean. Now, this entire world you see here is procedurally generated. And especially the guy, which I've created as a player. And when I say procedural, I also kind of include player creating things, being very malleable in a procedural way. So for instance, the player creates his character, but the animations, behaviors, textures are all generated procedurally. Now this guy has a life cycle, very much like the little cell guy did. He also competes with other creatures in the environment. Another thing to realize here that's kind of different is that all the creatures in this environment are coming from other players. Look around here a little bit. Swim over to those guys.